Thank you so much for coming today to our our Phased Friday. My name is Sam Lee. I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs at Norco College. I think many of you have met me before, and I've met many of you. And joined by our amazing MAP team. If folks can quickly go around and introduce themselves.
Hey guys, Terence Nelson, consultant on this project, faculty member in the community college, as faculty or admin for the last 20 years. Happy Friday. Hope we'll be productive today and move your projects forward. Calvin?
Hi everyone, Calvin Gloria, MAP project expert, and I'm also a U.S. Navy veteran. Mr. Pedro, go ahead.
Hello everyone, Pedro Campos, MAP chief architect. Let me turn over to Weston Kilbride.
Hi everyone, Weston Kilbride. I think I've met all of you. Customer success manager along with Brook.
Hi everyone. Yeah, I think I've spoken with quite a few of you guys. So customer success manager from ITPI.
Well, great. Yeah, I think that covers our folks. If you haven't already, maybe put your name and college in the chat. I see that most everyone has there. And today we are talking about our veteran self-access module. We're excited about it, and wanted to let you know that today we're meeting from 1 to 2. It's a little bit shorter than last meeting, but if anyone would like to hang out after the 2 o'clock time, please let us know, and our team will hang on to meet with you after 2. The next May 6th scheduled meeting is canceled. We are going to hold off on looking at uniform credit recommendation module until folks have more experience doing just regular articulations. So we think it's just too early to introduce that. We don't want to confuse things. So we are going to pick up the Phased Fridays again, June 3rd, to talk about the veteran outreach module, which goes really well with the veteran self-access module or map search module. And then we'll round that out to begin our non-military CPL module. Very excited about that too. Here's our team. You already met us. Today, we'd like to just spend a little time talking about recent meetings we've had with colleges, with college teams, as well as the senates. And so you get a feel for what's going on with the initiative. And then also, I just want to raise your awareness again to, and Calvin will put this in the link in the chat, but to the document that is our, oh, sorry, need to get out of this mode. This is our one-stop shopping for resources and links. And it refers to laws and policies as well across the state on CPL, and gives some student testimonial stories as well as training resources for MAP. So hopefully you keep this, use this, have it ready if you're meeting with your folks, because I think it'll give you much that you might need at your fingertips. And let me go back to my, and then we're going to talk about the veteran intake enhancements, and then the veteran self-access module. We'll demo that, and we'd like to get your input on that. Let's start maybe with our initiative activities and our meetings with local colleges and college senates. I think it's been really fruitful for us to be interacting with your college teams and your senates. And I don't know if, Terence, would you like to mention anything?
Yeah, you know, if you're planning on speaking to any constituency group, specifically the faculty, which is, you know, the meat and potatoes of getting these articulations done and where the motivation sometimes needs to be. If you're going to speak to Senate exec or your Senate, feel free to invite us in for some Q&A, or you can meet with us you know, as a MAP team beforehand just to prep. But what we're hoping to do is support you guys in building those constituent supports on your campuses where needed. So if you don't need it, fine, but we're here as a resource. And we did see we've gone to a couple, we've been invited to a couple more, but there's some great slide decks and materials that people are presenting. So if you're willing, as we're a learning community together, if you're willing to share those materials that you present in your constituency groups, we'd like to create a repository for other colleges to glean some knowledge off of what was successful for you. If you have a slide deck or any materials that you presented, we can house that online, open source for other colleges as they present and share the good word about CPL to their faculty.
Yeah, we were just with Monterey Peninsula College, and Vincent there gave a great presentation in Academic Senate on using a slide deck he had prepared, and it was very well done, very well received, and we were hoping we got a copy of that, so we'll check with him and see if we can share that with you later on. But that's an example of one of the things we'd like to post up, and that maybe we can share each other's best practices, best ideas, and begin to use the same sorts of vocabulary, so that when we're talking with Senate, it will just begin to deepen the conversations, and people will begin to use familiar language that we all share. We're happy about the website that we're working on that's coming soon. So we'll roll that out in the coming weeks. And we plan to move all of our resources from our Norco College website for MAP to a shared cohort website for the California MAP Initiative, so that it's not Norco specific or RCCD specific, but it serves the whole state in our cohort. So we're excited about that coming soon. And we'll be looking for your input on that as well, and what might serve you better.
Yeah, with that, on that site, we do have links to all the colleges that our team could find, the board policies, administrative regulations for CPL. Obviously, you can use the MAP search engine, which you're going to learn about here soon. But if you do have a test link for your ACE articulations, please do share it with Calvin. We'd love to start adding those test links in there as well, just to have a nice little repository of everything going on statewide, and we can brag about your institution, but also other colleges can kind of look over the fence without doing the direct adoptions on MAP. They can see things through tests as well. So that would help us out. If you do have an open source test, share that link with Calvin so we can add that to your college's site.
Yeah, so in just a moment here, let me pull up, let me share again. I'd like to do a short review on our student intake module that we shared with the last Phased Friday. This is the module that allows you to create a student record in MAP, upload their JST, and it analyzes the JST and shows you the credit recommendations that they're eligible for and any articulations that you created. Based on the input from you all, we have created a way for you to make articulations within the module. So you don't have to leave it, you don't have to go to a different screen, you can just make the articulations right there. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let me stop share. So we're in MAP, and if we would like to get to the student intake module, it's right here under student intake. Brings you to your list of the students that you've uploaded into MAP. Let me just get that a little bit larger for you. So this is our test site, and so we have some characters in here. And let's take a look. Let's say we've uploaded these students by uploading their JST and creating a record for them. In this case, we did that with Theodore Roosevelt. So I'm going to click on the pencil here, and that's to edit that record. Now I go in here. This is, if you were at the last Phased Friday, this is familiar to you. This is where you see the students' information, their reason for their visit to the VRC or to the office where you work with veterans. The opportunity to upload a JST or a DD-214, Or if you can't upload a JST, you can actually add ACE IDs manually. And then a place where we can track the student's status if they've had a counseling appointment, an orientation, an assessment, if their DD-214 is submitted, if their financial aid is complete or not, if they have a program of study, if they've selected their educational benefits. In this case, it says the JST has been submitted. So we know that Theodore Roosevelt's JST is on file. So if we look down here below, we'll see the eligible credits for Teddy. Where you see an I and view, those are articulated courses and credit recommendations. So if we see if I can get that a little bit bigger. In this case, we have 80J class is our class at Norco College. It's 3 out. We gotta go back out again. 3 hours in patrol operations is the credit recommendation. This is 80J6, and they get 3 hours of credit for that. So we can select these and apply them to the student's record right here. I want to apply them. And now they'll appear down below. So these are the applied credits that we've selected for Teddy. But if you'll notice up here, I'm going to unselect all these. We have these are other credit recommendations that have no articulation. So in this case, on this row, we have, on the first row, we have 1 hour in leadership, 2 hours in military something. If we would like to create an articulation directly here, we can do that. Let's do it with 3 hours in management, since management is a fairly common course. So we can choose here and maybe go down to business. This is all pulled from our catalog. Yours will be pulled from your catalog. And we'll just choose something right here just for fun. It's not the appropriate articulation, bit management communications with 3 hours in management, but I just want to demonstrate the functionality. Click create. When you click create, MAP is going to go and look through the database for 3 hours in management and find every instance of that and then show it to you in one place. So here's your course, Business 22. This is the how it typically looks to create an articulation. You show on the left side your course, Business Communications, and over here is the 3 hours in management credit recommendation. Now, it went and found there are actually 501 instances in MAP of this exact same 3 hours in management. So you can adjust, do the articulation for the one specific ACE ID that you intended, or you could select all and create an articulation for all instances of 3 hours in management with management communications. So this allows you to perform your articulation without leaving the screen. So now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cancel out of that. If I were to do it, it would just start the process at the evaluator stage as it normally would. And so we're excited about that feature because it just allows you to do all the work. Many of you, if you're starting out, won't have these articulations done. So you'll have a veteran come in, you want to upload their JST, and now you can get to work by articulating based directly from their JST. And that gives you an opportunity to meet each student veteran's needs as they go. So those are the enhancements to our student intake module. I'm going to pause and see if there's any questions.
Dr. Lee, just to mention too, the student intake is only available to MAP ambassadors for now.
Okay, great, Kevin. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
So MAP ambassadors have access to this, which that might change in the near future, depending on our conversations with the ambassadors. They would like to expand that. Then that's possible to do that. Thoughts or questions? Ideas?
Could you show us one more time how you got there?
Sure. Let me close this. And actually, let me just go to the home page so you see how I get to everything. When you log in, this is what you'll see. You go a little bit smaller, so it might look very similar to what you would see.
Yep.
Then this is the hamburger menu right here. I'm going to go to that hamburger menu, and I'll go to students, student intake. Do you have that, Deanna?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any students in there yet?
I haven't even gone there yet. We were on a whole different section yesterday, so get out.
If you wanted to play around with it, you see if you have either someone in your office who works as staff as a veteran, or you can have a veteran student who works with you, and then just save their JST, and you can go ahead and, here I have one right here. That's Theodore Roosevelt. That's where I saved it to my desktop. I'm not going to re-upload him again, but as soon as you can go navigate to it, save it, and it'll create that record for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Then you'll have someone to play with there. Yeah. Other questions? If this is your first time seeing it, I apologize for going through so fast. I really was, am just intending to show the enhancement to it. And if you would like to start over with this component and just start from ground one, then we can do that. Weston and Brook can meet with you and get you going on this. Okay. We can always return to this if you like. Let's move on to the map search purposes. So the map self-access or search, the purposes of that is to provide service members of any status the ability to view the map colleges that offer college credits. And they can do it by inputting their MOS, their occupation, their AFSC, or their rating. Those are just different terms for the military occupation in the different branches. Or their ACE ID, if they know what their ACE ID is. Many veterans may not even know what an ACE ID is. So I think our primary target now are counselors, evaluators, and SCOs in the VRC to sit across with a veteran and do a search with them. But this is intended as we build our catalog of articulations to be open to the public. Anyone who wants to search for the credits that they are entitled to could go here. It also gives veterans the option to upload their own JST. To upload their own JST and obtain a report of eligible and potential credits. So this would allow someone to upload their JST, save the report, and bring it in to your VRC and say, hey, here's what it says I'm eligible for. And then it also allows current and potential students to contact their school certifying official to request a review of their MAP credits. Now we're happy about this because once they upload their JST, they can click a button, send an email to the SCO that's identified in MAP, and then that can initiate a meeting or a review. We think this is great because this is a way to attract new students to your school, to your college. Also, it allows college personnel to respond to needs of regional veterans by seeking access and CPL at their college. So this allows any personnel at your college, faculty, staff, or other students to see what credits you're offering and what opportunities for credits you have to offer. You have at your, based on the uploaded JSTs. It also allows students to see all available MAP credits in the region. Now, this is, at this point, that's a little scary because, you know, we're all starting out with getting our articulations done. And so, you know, if the student types in their MOS, it may not bring up your college. It may not bring up my college because I don't have articulated credits in the area that match their occupation. So, you know, it's a little bit of a motivation too to make sure that you do have some articulations on the books so that when students do, when vets do type in their occupation, that, you know, your college will pop up. But it will be transparent. Okay, let's take a look first. Let me see if I can switch screens.
As Sam's pulling this up to that last point, you know, we were chatting before this meeting about the ESOs at those joint education centers. You know, they're going to be looking up these things as well to see what kind of credit Lance Corporal so-and-so is going to get at your institution. So it behooves you to get those articulations into MAP once you get those articulations done, or route them through MAP because, you know, as Sam's going to display right here, the heavy MAP users are going to pop up. Those institutions are going to pop up first, and that might drive some decisions.
Okay, so this would be a publicly available site, and the way this works is you're a veteran. You know what you did in the service. So let's say you were an MP. So you were a military police. So you just start typing in police, and it searches the database. It's going to pull up anything with the word police in it or anything with that string in it. You don't have to know the code. All you have to know is the keyword, any keyword. If you know the code, put the code in, it'll pull it up. But, oh yeah, I was an Army military police 31B, but that's not all I was. I was in for a little while. I was also, I happen to know I'm a 95B. This is a particular student I'm thinking of right now. But I also know that there were some, those are my two occupations, but I know there's some other courses I did. And so I'm Army. These are, AF is Air Force. I'm looking for my AR stuff that I did. And service members may likely know these codes. If not, they're all on their JST. So right now we're just manually putting these in because we have our JST in front of us and we know these things. So I know I did this course and I did some more courses. I was an investigator, police, and I was a advanced non-commissioned officer. I'm not done yet. I was, what else? AR, police captain's career. Okay, that's good enough for me right now. And now I'll click search. Okay, so MAP goes and searches the colleges that have done some articulations in this area. These are all administration of justice, criminology classes. And so we've done some articulations there. And so you can see that Moreno Valley, Norco College, and Riverside City College come up. Norco has 6 units. So if we want to take a look at Norco, click on that. And we'll see a summary here, or a list of the 9 unit courses that they're eligible for right here. And then down below, we have the programs of study at Norco College. Admin and info systems. Here's the 9 units or 3 units applying to that one. Admin and info systems plan B, 3 units. Here's one where you get 6 units, business admin and management concentration in this program. So even though they qualify for 9 units, not all those units will apply to the different programs of study. But in this case, if I were to upload the JST of this student, it would capture much more, and the student would qualify for much more credit. This is just based on what I typed in at the time and what we have articulated. I want to mention something about these programs right here. At Norco, we've because we've been working on this for the last 3 years, we actually went in and associated our courses with each program of study. And MAP allows you to do this. This is not a feature that we have visible to you right now, because we can make that feature visible to you through your customer success managers. But we don't want to focus on it just yet, because it takes a bit of work to drag and drop your courses, your required courses, your optional courses, your elective courses to each program of study. But in the long run, our goal is to work with you or to do that for you, so that all of 54 colleges have the courses associated with their programs of study. All your courses are in MAP now. All your programs are in MAP now. But the required elective and optional connection is not in MAP for all the colleges. But once that is established, then you'll be able to see, your students will be able to see exactly where their credits apply to. Okay, so now once you're here, you can actually download a report of this report, so it's portable for you to take with you to the college. So this is really just a synopsis of everything you've just seen. And this can be saved, and this can also be submitted to your school certifying official. So if I want to make an appointment with my school certifying official, click there, and it takes you to a place where you can add your name, your email address, your phone, and a note to the school certifying official, and attach the report that you just created. And you might say, hey, could I make an appointment to review this with you to see if I could come to Norco College, or I'm at Norco College. Can I review this with you to see if I want to apply some or all of these course credits to my record? And that'll kick off the process.
And Sam, there was a message in the chat, and all of us on the team, we're always trying to find ways to enhance and improve, but that's why we have this learning community put together. Some little item we might want to consider, and Calvin, maybe we could put this in the parking lot, that on that report that we have a nice little notation to say, please meet with your veterans counselor or school certifying official. Though it does prompt you to connect with them in the system, maybe we need to directly say that. But thank you for the suggestion. Who was that over there? I put the suggestion, Martina.
Martina.
We might look at the wording on that to include that.
That's a great idea. It makes me think too, it'd be nice if we had the college board policy and procedure on CPL, but that might be too cool for school to have a link to that. But we do have links to all of your CPL policies from your catalog assembled. So that might be something we could do, is to add a link for more information on credit for prior learning policy. Click here and embed that in the report along with the instructions that are suggested. What other ideas do you have for this report? And you can feel free to put them in the chat or just unmute and jot them out. Right now we're thinking the best person to send this to would be the SCO. For lack of a more, everyone does their process different at the colleges. And so it might be a counselor who's the first person in line, or it might be the SCO, or you might have a SCO's counselor, you might have an AO who does this. So we're thinking that it would be whomever you have on file with us in MAP as the school certifying official. And so if there's any other thoughts on that, I just see Deanna has her hand up.
Yes, could you scroll down just a little bit more? Okay, no, right where you were. So where you have units articulated, so where it says units required, is that, tell me what the units required is. That's the program?
That's the program.
Oh, okay. That's really cool.
Isn't
So
that-
that's where you've matched things up to see what percentage of the program this will fulfill.
Yeah. So once you get those connections made in your program between your course and your program,
Yeah.
then yeah, that displays really nicely. And if they're getting 30 units credit on a 60 unit degree, that looks real. That
Yeah.
line looks really beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. How about if we back up here?
You can do one more if you have a shortcut at the top, the MS search, so they can see the very first.
Oh, that's right. I haven't even gotten to the JST upload, right, Pedro?
That's right.
Okay. All right, let's move on. So the student cannot enter their occupation code or ACE ID code. Anyone can do that, or they can just upload their JST. And in this case, I'm gonna browse. Let's say I saved it on my computer. I have my JST on my computer. And there's Theodore Roosevelt. I'm going to upload that selected JST. And based on the JST alone, it says that now you qualify for 6, 6, or 3 at the 3 colleges. But look at the different information now that we have. Now we've really got an electronic version of that JST summary page, which is the last page of the JST, ported into MAP. You have the ACE ID and the course name and number and the version and the title. But here you have all the credit recommendations with the unit. So this is first aid, 1 unit, lower division. Marksmanship, 2 units, lower division. So these are all the courses found in the transcript. This again is something that the student might save and submit to the college when they.
And is this done automatically when they upload the JST, and how long does it take for it to be generated? Or is this something that, someone has to articulate?
This is done automatically and just pretty much in a blink of an eye there. And MAP parses the JST summary page and looks for these data elements and puts them in this table, and also saves them to the student's MAP record so that you have now a place to work from for this student to find them their credits. But you had a secondary question on that, Patricia. I just forgot what it was.
No, I think you answered everything.
Okay.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm new to the state of California. So are there, and it may be different school to school, but are there any date requirements? Like I see that one looks like it was 2002. So that first one's like a 20-year-old course. Does that impact anything?
I think now keep in mind that this is not showing that this is articulated. These are potential articulations. So this first aid, 1 unit first aid lower division from training that occurred in 2002, that's going to be up to the evaluator to create that articulation with your, let's say it's your self-development 2 units, part of your self-development 2 units. The evaluator may say, we're not going to look at anything more than 25 years old, or whatever they choose. Or they may say, well, no, we'll look at all of it. That's up to whoever is creating the articulation for this credit recommendation. So you might say, yeah, we're not going to consider, this is fairly recent, it's not too bad. But let's say this were a computer course in 2002 in programming. Well, they don't need to learn COBOL anymore.
Right.
So for that purpose, you might not, you would use those dates and might not.
And
So is that different school to school here? Does each school get to make that determination? Because I feel like that's kind of, it'd be curious if one college is going to take everything and another one has like a time limit. That may be.
Well, that's one of the reasons, that's such a great question, because that's one of the reasons we've thought of the adopt articulation module becoming an ecosystem, becoming eventually best practices. So let's say that Norco did decide to go ahead and give that, articulate that with a 2002. And you would see it on our adopt, you would see it's available for you to adopt. And it would say it's from 2002. Well, you could also see if Norco and Riverside and Moreno Valley and maybe Chaffee did that, and they're all on board with this 2002 articulation. You're starting to get some general consensus here, and we're hoping that that's what will happen.
Yeah. If I could jump in there, Deanna, there's with 72 different districts and then 116 campuses. In many districts, the campuses have separate curriculum, some have shared, but there is, desperate kind of evaluative processes, but also acceptances on regionally accredited institutions too. So you can come in with regionally accredited work from an out-of-state institution, and college A may accept, this. College B may not put that on their general ed, may say, hey, that doesn't meet the spirit of our GE for social and behavioral sciences. We're not going to take that, anthropology, that goes over here. We read it as this. Or the English course is missing word count on the essays, and therefore we're not going to bring it over as your freshman composition, but an AO at another campus may accept that. So, there is some, because I'm looking at it at a universal perspective, from regionally accredited work that occurs as well. It's not just for CPL. Now, I'm also going to say to Sam's point, it's discipline specific. So if you had a language course from the 70s and you took it from University of Anchorage, Alaska, or you did it in the military, you knew the language, you should receive credit for that. But if it's going to be something, say in physiology, what's the one for nursing? Physiology.
Anatomy and physiology.
Yeah, there's recency with that for good reason. So it's really discipline specific too, but we also, as much as we can create that ecosystem and kind of come to the same page, we're not having this negative competition where a student is going to drive up the freeway because they receive more credit.
Okay.
One of the projects that we're going to be working on in the coming weeks right here is to try and get a group of faculty together around a particular industry like advanced manufacturing or computer information systems, and get a small group of faculty from our cohort, pay those faculty to concentrate on creating as many articulations as possible in MAP, and do it collectively. So, different colleges working together to create those articulations, and then also link those to the industry credentials. So we think that might be a way to get more consensus on what's the date, the impact of the date, and some other considerations like that.
Yeah, the guardrails too, Sam, as we were talking about, the no's are just as good as the yeses. So, if you have 5 different campuses saying, hey, this certification, we're just not going to consider it for XYZ reason, then we're all not barking up the wrong tree, right? They give us these good guardrails. So hopefully we can get that group together.
Yeah. By the way, if anyone has faculty or programs in advanced manufacturing or computer science that you think might be interested in this, let me or Terence know. We'd like to get a start on that. Okay, so back here, if we're let's say we want to go to Norco College and have a look at. Okay, so here's I'm a student. I downloaded my JST. Here's all my information. Now I know what do I do with that. Well, I know at least 6 units of them will apply to Norco College. So you get this same view of this, but just from the JST. Now we have other JSTs in our database that give more than just 6 units. That's not a very exciting one to look at. I think an exciting one to look at is when you get 20 units of credit. But this is the idea here. And let me see. Yeah, any other thoughts on this? Thoughts or ideas or input on the design of this so far? Part of our goal here in sharing this with you today is we haven't put this in production yet. We want to be careful when we put this into production to make sure that it meets your needs and that we've really thought through all the possibilities on how to present this so that people, when it comes on board, we want to be able to advertise this so that we can begin to attract students to your colleges. Okay, well, if something comes to mind, don't be shy.
Well, the only thing that comes to mind to me is what I already put in the chat, is that if we could get like an elevator speech slide presentation that really talks about this very quickly to present, so that we could go, I mean, I can see myself going to every department meeting and just doing a 10 or 15-minute presentation just to let them know what we're working on and how it's going to look for students and for the departments. Just to go ahead and just hit all those bullet points so that we can, they can be aware of what's happening and what's out there. And it's been really difficult for me to try and get the faculty senate and the leadership there to really, sort of embrace even, anticipating having this happen. And I just feel like if I had, something that, I could just show it to them that's just really quick, that it'd be easier for me to do that. I know that if you've ever gone to any of these faculty meetings, that they don't want people to suck up a bunch of time because they don't meet as often as other departments and they have a lot of business to go through. So doing a 10-minute program would just be, and if I could just have something like that, if you could post some of those slides, it would just be great, because then, we could reach more faculty that way.
That's a great, we definitely want to do that. And I'm wondering, I imagine the best thing would be to have a slide deck with some notes that your own folks at each college can present, because people trust you or they know you. But we also thought of just putting together a video or a recorded Zoom with the number of folks presenting the same information so that it could be a recording that you might show too. I don't know if both would be helpful, if either would be more helpful. But we'll definitely work on the slide deck. I think we'll actually be working from using some stuff that Vincent presented at Monterey Peninsula College and some of the materials we have.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, yeah, both would be very useful.
Okay. Yeah, we've heard that request before because, it just takes a while to get people up to speed. What are you talking about with all this? And And how does it affect me? And I'm already overloaded. And what are you asking me to do? So
I like the slide deck too, because then depending on how long you have, you could pick out the slides you need to use for that particular group. Or of a video, it's hard to edit that.
yeah, I mean, we could give you more rather than less, and let you just hide the ones you don't need.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really like this one of the students' ability to upload, because I think that will be super impactful to them to see that if they can put up their JST and get it articulated immediately and get a listing of schools that are going to give them credit, it might entice them to say, hey, wait a minute, we have areas that are very similar and we could provide that as well. I think that that's a greater incentive, because otherwise, a lot of them are still in the mindset with CPL that, hey, this is going to impact my classes and my enrollment's going to go down because now they're going to just get credit. And you have to show them the bigger picture. No, this really isn't going to impact you, because these students have already taken this and they will shy away from your certificate because they're going to feel like they're retaking something they've already done. And I've had students, way back when in the beginning, with nursing, our medics and corpsmen changed their majors because nursing wouldn't give them any credit. So it's been a real struggle.
Such a great point. And we have studies in our slide deck, which are footnoted, that show that adult learners who get CPL actually take more total units at the college than those who don't get CPL. It's kind of counterintuitive, they actually take more total units and they complete at a significantly higher rate than those who don't get CPLs. Because if you're coming in and you get 15, 20, 30 units of credit, you're going to stay, you're going to complete that program, and you're going to do it quickly.
And speaking of completers, this is a little bit deep in the weeds, but something that's going to be rolled out in the next couple months, depending on how successful it is. Moreno Valley College right now is looking back at previous students that are high unit, that are at 50 plus units, 45 plus units, and seeing, okay, can we take that old JST that was on their file with the SCO, match that into MAP, and get them to completion or within a class or two of completion, and then they're reaching back out and bringing the student back to either petition for graduation or, hey, you got one more class to go and we get you over the hump for this general studies degree so you can transfer or what have you. So it's kind of a fun, like, reverse transfer or outreach tool for students who were right at the edge of completion. And now that we can do the CPL project, you're getting them even closer to that cusp. So you're increasing your completers, but you're also increasing your student head count by bringing folks back in because they're close to the finish line. Just love the concept of that.
They found 6 so far, 6 real people that were sometimes just one course away. And they have been trying for 4 years. One example, they've been trying for 4 years and it looked like they were just not going to be back. They were going to stop one course short. And so, I mean, they've gone through and they're finding these students, and it's going to be transformative for the student. And great for the college as well. We're doing that with our electrician apprentices. We've found that we could give them credit for their first 2 years of apprenticeship in MAP, but we're going to go back to the last 8 years and give it to all the apprentices who didn't get it. And there's nothing that stops any of us from doing that. It's a pretty neat endeavor. Okay, maybe we can shift. We've just got 10 minutes left, and interrupt me with anything that comes up. But I want to just give you an idea. We've probably covered many of these things, but so the MAP search use, the search feature that we've just demonstrated for you, we think that colleges can promote this feature to attract new students to particular programs. So we're thinking of doing that. We're thinking of taking some money, making sure we have our electrician program really well articulated, and then just advertising. If you're a veteran and you had anything electrical in your occupation, and type in your occupation code here. Go to this link, type it in, see what credits you qualify for at Norco College. And we're kind of excited about that. Also, we have an upcoming feature that's really neat that shows Google Earth. It's a Google Earth view of all the colleges in the cohort. All the 54 colleges are on there. And there also shows the military bases, and you can click on any of the colleges and it pulls up links to you and shows what credits that someone might be eligible for based on what they enter in as their occupation. So we think that that'll be a really a nice feature to have. This also allows, think about this, area recruiters to show their new recruits the college credits they may qualify for based on their potential occupation. So Calvin is an aviation technician. So when he signed up, back when he did, he could have, if this were in place, the recruiter could have said, hey, type in that MOS and see what you qualify for in the area. Type it in and see that he would qualify for probably 20 units of credit based on his occupation at the colleges around him. And it would also, Terence, you want to mention something about this?
But no, the ESOs, the Educational Service Officer at that Joint Education Center, those many of our campuses aren't near a military base. So you may, as someone in the VRC, understand how this works, or prior military, you may understand how this works, but many folks don't. If you're using tuition assistance or you're active duty and you want to access education, typically the gateway is through your education center on that military installation. And the person you're speaking with is usually an ESO. So as they get familiar with MAP, as we take this on the road show with the Department of Defense and get the California bases aware of this initiative, those ESOs are probably going to use this search tool. So understand that the more articulations you get into MAP, you will be funneled students likely.
Okay. So then the last thing we have to just share with you is some upcoming enhancements that we have planned for this. And you know how we had, just go back to one example. And are you seeing the map search feature now? Okay. So in this case, if we click on if we search for 31B, which is military police, go to Norco College. Right now it shows the 9 units of eligible credit, but we very soon will, just below this, show you all the credit recommendations that have not been articulated. So the student will see, oh yeah, I get 9 units of credit. Oh, but there's 34 more units potential just below it. And they'll be able to save that, and then they'll be able to actually just go to your VRC or talk to your SCO and say, hey, is there any possibility I could get credit for these? And that will, we hope, will help make sure that every veteran gets a fair shot at getting their credit, and gives you a chance to respond to their needs and say, oh yeah, let me take a look and see what we have that matches up. So that's a coming feature.
So I have a question,
Yeah.
and you may have answered this before, and I just didn't hear it, but as far as articulation forward, in order, I know that some of the Cal States are looking at our transcripts, and if it's on the transcript, some of them have decided they're going to go ahead and give them the credit. But I'm wondering, so many of our veterans go from community college to community college to community college. They attend 3 or 4. Have we addressed how we're going to accept? So if somebody gets 9 units of electricity at Norco, is it fair to say that PCC should accept those 9 units?
Terence, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I would say yes as a counselor, but is it codified into Title V? I'm going to have to go back and read Title V clearly, because no one's ever posed that question directly like that. And if it's not codified into law, let's create a new state law to create a fair playing field for our student vets and for our reentry students. But I'm going to have to go back and read Title V. I've never had that question asked.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it because when we look at four-year colleges, if they're accredited, you know, it's just implied that we're going to give them credit. And if we don't have the exact class, you know, we'll give them elective. But if we have the exact class, you know, we're going to articulate it and give them credit for that. And I'm thinking that we, you know, our students attend so many community colleges when you look at their transcripts sometimes that now what, you know, some other college, you know, and Citrus College is given all these units, or Norco or Glendale, and it's on their transcript. Are we going to give them credit for that?
Yeah,
So that is a
which
question.
institution do they have residency and are applying for graduation or completion, right? That's going to be the main, and you know, as counselors, we often piecemeal that too. And you say, hey, you can be a completer at Golden West, even though you went there 2 years ago, go petition there rather than here at,
take more units
OCC,
here.
right? Yeah. So we do that already. But you make, you know, a very good point, and we're going to dig through Title V. And if there's a gap there, and we realize that there may be that district or college autonomy to not accept transcripted credit, then let's knock on some doors to see if we can clean that up.
Yeah, I've got that in the chat noted. Great idea.
I wanted to bring up a point, like you brought up a really good point there, Patricia, because I know that at Palomar College, this kind of came up in the past couple of weeks because we did find one ACE ID that our discipline faculty identified computer science programming fundamentals as a course that could potentially be, you know, for credit for prior learning, but also through MAP. We didn't even really touch MAP on that yet. But, you know, a question came up for me as far as, okay, so if we're going to do this for computer science 112, do we need to have a process in place to clear the requisite to get to the next level? And because it's kind of it's a big issue, right? And so talking to our articulation officer, and I got to find it too, but he said that if the courses come in that would clear general education on the IGETC or on the CSU GE pattern, that would be fine, or even on the ADT. He said that it would be clear for that. But when it comes to specific course requirements that are listed on ASSIST per se, course requirements are going to be dependent at the CSUs, school by school and department. So then, because they need to make that determination as to whether or not they're going to take those courses in for CPL. Because I know that for us, you know, CPL has to be coded, it has to indicate how they receive those credits and so on and so forth. So we decided to hit the pause button on that computer programming course because it had those added layers with transfer articulation and not being able to officially guarantee that was going to come in and clear it.
Well, and not to go down too far the rabbit hole on that, Tina, but that actually applies to our native courses too. So if you complete an ADT in business administration, and just picking a campus out of the hat, say you go to San Jose State, their upper division faculty, though they'll only regulate you to the 60 units to finish, they might say, we're still not going to accept your stats class because it didn't include this. So that's occurred to students that I've worked with, taking native classes at the community college, getting an ADT and still having to repeat. That's not even CPL. So there's a flaw there with the transfer and major preparation courses that sometimes it might be on ASSIST, it might be on an ADT, but they still make the student retake.
Wasn't that the point of the ADT though, was to protect them from taking any other courses?
100%. 100%.
Okay.
But yes, but I know situations personally of students I've worked with that's occurred, and it wasn't CPL and it wasn't a non-California Community College course. It was a California Community College course. So it's a broader conversation that's an issue, but I think it should apply to CPL. If you deem that it's worthy and it's in the major prep, not general ed, I think the Cal State should honor that.
Folks, it's time 2:01, and I want to honor your time and thank you for being here with us today.